Pathway to Citizenship 2025 full talk show on US Naturalization Journey. Learn English easy.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Pathway to Citizenship, the show where we break down the U.S. naturalization process and turn anxiety into confidence. I'm Anne, your host and citizenship coach. Tonight, we're diving into the hardest questions from the civics test, but we'll do it with stories, humor, and a touch of real-life wisdom. And with me, as always, is my student and tonight's brave guest, Mark.
Thanks, Anne. I'm excited and nervous, but mostly excited.
That's the perfect mix. Nervousness keeps you sharp. Excitement keeps you engaged. Tonight, we'll go on a journey through America's history and government, one tricky question at a time. Audience, you ready? Let's start at the very beginning, the Constitution. Now, Mark, when you hear the Constitution, what image comes to mind?
Honestly, a dusty old piece of paper behind glass.
That's true. It is behind glass at the National Archives. But think bigger. The Constitution is the country's blueprint. Imagine America as a skyscraper. 50 floors, each floor a state, elevators moving up and down. The Constitution is the architect's drawing that keeps the building from collapsing.
So without it, the building would just crumble?
Exactly. And more than that, it's also the security system. It protects the people inside. It defines who gets to use which room, and it prevents one tenant from taking over the whole building.
That's a cool picture. Makes it less abstract.
That's the key. When the officer asks, "What does the Constitution do?" you could just say, "It sets up the government, defines the government, and protects basic rights." But if you understand that it's like a blueprint and a security system, the answer comes naturally.
That helps, because sometimes I memorize but then blank out.
Storytelling solves that. The rule of law is another example. Everyone, president, senator, billionaire, must follow the law. Picture the president speeding down the highway. Can the police stop them? Yes, because no one is above the law.
That's powerful. In my country of birth, leaders acted untouchable.
And that's what America was trying to prevent. The founders didn't want kings. They wanted rules, not rulers. Now, let's talk about rights and responsibilities. Mark, what's one right from the First Amendment?
Freedom of speech.
Yes, and there are 4 more: religion, press, assembly, petition, raps. Think of it like your rap album, Freedom Raps.
I'll never forget that now.
Good. But here's the tricky part. Students often mix rights with responsibilities. For example, only U.S. citizens can vote in federal elections or serve on a jury. Those aren't just privileges, they're duties.
So rights are what I get. Responsibilities are what I give back.
Exactly. Think of it like Netflix. The right is watching shows whenever you want. The responsibility is paying the bill so the service keeps running.
That's perfect. So if I don't vote, it's like enjoying Netflix without paying?
Exactly. Citizenship is a subscription where you also help create the content. Voting writes the next season of America.
Wow, that makes me feel like part of something bigger.
And you are. The test isn't just memorization. It's about understanding why these responsibilities matter. Okay, let's lighten things up. The three branches of government: legislative, executive, judicial, or as I like to call them, three roommates in a sitcom.
Oh, I remember this one.
Yes, picture them. The legislative roommate writes the House rules, no parties after 10. The executive roommate enforces it, turn down the music. And the judicial roommate interprets, well, technically, this isn't a party, it's a study session.
That's so true. It's like every apartment I've lived in.
And that's checks and balances. No roommate gets full control. They have to balance each other, otherwise chaos.
That's actually genius. The founders basically invented the ultimate roommate agreement.
Exactly. And remember the numbers game too. 100 senators, 435 representatives. Senators serve 6 years. S for 6. Representatives 2. Like a phone contract, you renew often.
I like that. Shorter contracts for the House.
Now, history questions. These can feel dry unless we make them come alive. Take the Emancipation Proclamation. Students memorize, freed the slaves, but imagine Abraham Lincoln, tall hat, reading a document in the middle of the Civil War, declaring freedom for enslaved people in Confederate states. Picture the courage in that moment.
That makes it stick so much more.
Exactly. Same with the civil rights movement. Don't just memorize the words. Picture Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat, or Martin Luther King Jr. speaking on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial.
That's more inspiring than a flashcard.
And it reminds you why these answers matter, not just for the test, but for citizenship itself. World War II. Who were America's enemies?
Germany, Japan, Italy.
Yes, the axis of 3. Easy way to remember. Now, the Cold War. The main concern was communism. Imagine the US and the Soviet Union staring at each other across a frozen chessboard. No bullets, just tension, spying, and the fear of nuclear war.
That image is chilling.
Exactly. And when you imagine it, you never forget. Why does the flag have 13 stripes?
For the 13 original colonies.
And 50 stars?
For the 50 states.
Yes. And think of July 4th, not just as hot dogs and fireworks, but as a celebration of declaring independence in 1776. When the officer asks, "When is Independence Day?" you just say, "July 4th," but in your heart, you're picturing freedom.
That actually gives me goosebumps.
Okay, let's have fun. Quick mock, but instead of robotic answers, give them with personality. What is the rule of law?
It means everyone follows the rules. President, senator, even the guy who cuts in line at Starbucks.
Yes, perfect. What did the Emancipation Proclamation do?
It freed the slaves in Confederate states. Lincoln dropped the mic on injustice.
Who is the father of our country?
George Washington, the original founding influencer.
See, you've got this. Mark, how do you feel after all this?
Honestly, inspired. I came in nervous, but now I see the test isn't just about memorizing numbers and names. It's about connecting with the story of America.
Exactly. Citizenship isn't the end of a process, it's the beginning of belonging. And you've already shown you belong. Thank you, Mark, and thank you to our audience. Remember, study hard, laugh often, and never forget that every answer on that test is a piece of America's story. Until next time on Pathway to Citizenship.